For our devotion today, I wanted to think a little bit about what it feels like to be in need. Professor John Dominic Crossan tells a story of when he was teaching and in seminaries. He taught seminaries around the world, and three different ones specifically, one in America, one in Russia, and one in Tanzania. And he tells about sharing this story, and it's the prodigal son story, and then asking people about it. And so I just want to read this section from the prodigal son story from Jesus. So Jesus says, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of the property that will belong to me.' So the father divided his property between the 2 sons. A few days later, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country, and there he squandered his property in dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him out to his fields to feed the pigs. The son thought he would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything to eat." What does it mean to be in need? When John Dominic Crossan asked his students in these 3 different countries, "Tell me about this story. What is it about this young man that has him in such great need?" In America, they all pointed to the fact that he had squandered his property in dissolute living. It says so right in the text. It squandered his property in dissolute, bad living. And we can give all sorts of definition to that. When he was in Russia, he asked that same question to his seminary students. He said, "So what is it about this that the young man is suddenly finding himself in need?" And they all pointed to something completely different. They pointed to another part of the text where it said, "And a severe famine took place throughout that country." And in Russia, they had had many famines. They knew what it meant to be in great need, needing to be fed. When he went to Tanzania, he asked his seminary students there that same question. What is it about this story that finds this young man in great need? And they all pointed to a whole different part of this same text, the exact same text. And they said, because no one shared with him. I had a chance to be in Tanzania several times, and I've seen how people share. The greatest people in greatest needs that have so little, maybe they're a widow, or maybe they've found themselves in a very bad physical state where they're handicapped and cannot really take care of themselves. People take care of one another. They help each other through all that they go through. I experienced this in my life at one time when my father had developed leukemia. Out of nowhere, he developed leukemia and was in great need. And I remember that sense of our family's need to have my father healed. And unfortunately, he was never healed this side of heaven. But we knew that great need. There was nothing we could do to take care of my father, nothing we could do to help heal him. We had to lean on the doctors and nurses. We had to lean on the medicine. We had to lean on so many of our friends and our church and how people cared for us and helped us through that incredible, difficult time for about 6 months. And that feeling of being in need, it's a helpless feeling. You can't do anything about it yourself. You really, truly need, as the text says, to rely on others. And just as this younger son experienced, we felt that as a family as my dad was dying and eventually did die. And I remember the appreciation we had for people who took care of us, who helped us, who in so many small ways just made such a difference for us as we went through that. Giving is about that, isn't it? It's about sharing and caring and being there for one another. And sometimes it's for being there for people we have never met, but we know of their great difficulty. And it's a call for us as Christians, as people of faith, to remember what Jesus has taught us, to love one another as we would love ourselves, how to care for others and to reach out and be there for one another. As we go through Lent, this question keeps coming up for us. What does it mean to give? And often, as I lift it up today, what does it mean to be in need? And as we think about the needs of our siblings in Christ all around us, we are reminded through our simple actions, we reach out and care for one another, just as Jesus has already done for us.